Tom Wheeler, I want you to get this message. I promise, this is my last one. Just hear me through on this. I've been fearing this for a long time now. The nightmares have to end. I need to be certain that I, a good 99% of the other members of my generation, and their future generation, and possibly the generation after that, will have the basic internet rights they need to survive, thrive, communicate, spread news, and have a voice. Too long has this been at the back of my mind. This current battle for the internet could affect not just America, but Canada as well, and maybe even the entire world if you let it run its course. The American aristocrats have often tried to tell us other countries how to live and have tried to force their policies among us for too long now. We're not going to let this happen. So what is this? I've been following the updates on the fight to save net neutrality. These are the guidelines that ensure that the internet is a balanced playing field in which discrimination of internet traffic is not allowed. As early as January 2014, when Verizon overthrew the FCC's rulings on a court trial, I've been fearing the end of the open internet and the economic depressions that could come from it if we lose the battle. This is one battle we can't lose now. So what is at stake? The one resource we really need to communicate with. How many people do banking, talk to their doctors, stream gaming, advertise their new products, try to start businesses, or just simply, talk over the internet? Too many to even count. This requires an open internet for us common people to do so. If we lose this fight, internet service providers, ISPs, will have the power to discriminate internet traffic as they choose. It may not seem big at first, but really it is. It would be possible for one site to pony over money to an already filthy rich internet service provider, just so that other site could have better throughput. Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, etc. wouldn't have much trouble giving up cash, but everyone else who wanted to do so much as get out of the starting gate would never be able to do so. Their website would be slowed down to the speed of a slug on crutches, which would make them lose out on many customers because, believe me, people don't want to deal with slow web pages. Even worse, these ISPs would be able to censor certain internet traffic at will, / block it, which means protesting over the internet against them would become that much more troublesome. In other words, some of the already richest companies will have even more control over the internet, and we'd all be powerless. No more chats, no more entrepreneurship, no more gaming, no more possibility of uprisings, all of it would be wiped out for the poor. Either that, or it would be just too laggy and slow to even bother anymore. Not only would internet quality plummet, internet bills and fees would skyrocket too, after these websites would start needing as much money as they do to keep their top speed with the ISPs. It could affect you since there could be a new tariff policy just for that website, just so you could enter / download / upload, etc. Not only would you pay tariffs, but the internet service providers would also slowly jack up their fees, since there would be no possibility of new competitors. In short, the death of net neutrality entails that your efforts and creativity would simply be stifled, your voice will be silenced, and that the rich will, and I do note, that they will rape the poor for every last penny that they have. Think about it for a minute. These ISPs already have more than enough money and power to their names. Verizon is worth about $120 billion US, Comcast is worth about $64 billion, and AT&T is worth about $128 billion. Most Americans likely struggle to pay their bills and simply, eat, and these rich executives want even more of their money? Can't you see what's wrong in that? Side with the people. They know what they're talking about, and they really need your help. Please don't be the catalyst for one of the greatest disasters of all time that could eventually impact the entire world. You and your organization would be hated by the general public for a long time to come if you did destroy net neutrality. Please just make the right choice. Lastly, I need to be certain that I won't lie awake some nights, unable to sleep, knowing that my hopes and dreams will become nil, and that I'll have no more future. I need to be certain that we are all protected from greed forever. I need to be certain now, and I need to be at ease forever. But before you refuse, please look at some of the comments written by other activists like me. I am currently 22, going to UC Irvine, if I'm even pronouncing that right. And I can proudly say that the majority of my knowledge was not gained because of my failed public schooling, but because of my own curiosity and the openness of the internet. I was born into poverty with my mother making only $20,000 a year. My formal educational system was a complete failure. I knew I was smart, but I just did not attempt to make an effort living in a neighborhood that produces more gang members than graduates. Thanks to my own commitment for a better life and a better education, I went to a community college and changed myself dramatically, which I can directly attribute to the internet and its non-discriminatory policies. Any question that popped up into my young, curious mind, I would make an internet search and gain more knowledge about the world, which is necessary in a democracy. I too relate to this guy. Whenever I need information, so I'm actually more accurate, I just go look on the internet and I'll find it really quickly. Please keep the internet open for everyone and don't make a class-based internet where information can be stifled. I am in the process of starting my own internet-based creative marketing and design agency. I graduated from university in 2010. Hiring was at an all-time low. If I wanted my dream job, I knew I would have to create it. I am elated about the prospect of creating jobs for others in my community as I see many struggling to find work. The internet allows entrepreneurs to build startups with relatively low overhead. It is the newest and arguably greatest platform to foster the American dream of creating a better life for yourself and others within your community. Why would the government want to interfere with middle-class job creation? Why would it want to work against itself to tarnish the American dream? Internet neutrality is important for small businesses. It is important for job creation. It is important for freedom of speech. Take it away, and you will be doing this country a shameful disservice. As a disabled veteran, net neutrality is extremely important to me. I schedule a lot of my appointments online and discuss results of tests with my doctor online as well. I am not a rich man. I make just a little above minimum wage. Asking those like me to pay more for what should be free would ultimately be detrimental to me and those like me. We would see our access to basic services crippled beyond belief, while those who have deep pockets would bulldoze us into the ground. Please, do not implement this poisonous plan to end net neutrality. 6 months ago, I started a website called The Nerd Assembly, a blogging site where we share our thoughts on all things pop culture. We've seen a steady increase in traffic the last few months, but nothing that's making us much money. We do it because we love it. Just like me when it comes to making videos. It's not something I do for the money. I do it because it's something I just like to do. Net neutrality, true net neutrality, makes the Nerd Assembly possible. The internet is a level playing field, a place where there is true freedom, but with these new rules, you would kill that. Give the power to the internet service providers, and you would kill us smaller sites. Beyond that, you will essentially censor what I see, what sites I visit. My privacy, my freedom will be a thing of the past. If you want to make money from the internet, then figure out another way. Take a page from our book and try a little ingenuity. But don't fuck us over. Her words, not mine, but yeah, I can relate. Have you ever tried to play a massive multiplayer online role-playing game with a slow internet connection? It is the bane of gamers worldwide, and with net neutrality gone, game connections will suffer if these gamers can't pay. Which means mobs of gamers angrily storming the streets. And nobody wants that, right? Right, because let's face it, there's nothing worse than gamer geeks motivated by revenge and anger towards a corrupt system hell-bent on taking away their online lives. Yeah, gamers can be crazy if you give them the opportunity to do so. Ending net neutrality is by far the worst idea I have ever heard of. I can make metaphor after metaphor comparing this decision to all varying degrees of ignorance, but I won't. I will say that this is obviously a huge scam, and the only winner will be the cable companies, who basically already have a monopoly and barely provide decent service as is. I sit here trying my hardest not to burst into a flurry of curse words and debauchery, but it gets harder the more I think about how screwed up this is. I already pay enough for the crappy internet I currently receive. Why then do you think for any second that I would be okay with having to pay more for the same crappy internet? End this charade and stop negotiations over this idea and reclassify ISPs as common carriers. I'm a single mother to 2 children. My oldest son is severely disabled. In order to provide better for them and get him the best healthcare I can, I've gone back to school online because working 2 jobs, that's the only way I can go. Net neutrality keeps my tuition affordable for my life situation. Take that away and you jack up my tuition and the tuition of thousands of parents like me, which will result in many, if not most or all of us being unable to continue our education in the only way that works for our lives, online. There are so many ways net neutrality no longer being a thing will impact our lives. I think this is probably one of the strongest. News media is dying. Cable TV is dying. In 10 years, free and equal access to the net will be the only way to ensure that Americans will be able to communicate with one another to get updates on current events. A free and open exchange of ideas and information is the most important aspect of ensuring a healthy democracy. If you turn this power over to private industry, you'll be turning over a vital part of our society in the next century. As a freelance graphic designer and entrepreneur, I cannot afford to pay my hard-earned money to corporations that have more than they could ever spend just to make sure my content gets delivered. If net neutrality disappears, it would cost me my dreams. Please don't kill my dreams. Same here. I'm working with a lot of computers, and if net neutrality was wiped out, then my future would be gone. I'd be fucked too. There has never been anything like the internet in history. Humanity has unparalleled access to information and to an egalitarian space that allows everyone an equal chance to be heard. Huge corporations like Verizon, AT&T, and Comcast will always find ways to get around regulations to keep them from owning, ruining everything. But that doesn't mean you need to hand them an easy victory. Stand up to them. Do what the FCC is supposed to do. Protect net neutrality and equal access for everyone. As a recently graduated high school student, I can tell you that I depend heavily on the internet for research. In my studies, I've used everything from online academic journals to documentaries on Netflix. Now, I've seen the reports on how Comcast strong-armed Netflix into paying more for Comcast services. This is akin to allowing the United States Post Office to charge National Geographic more to ship their product because magazines take up more room in the mail truck. As a student, an American, and a seeker of knowledge, I ask you to protect net neutrality from corporate interests. I am a small business owner, as is my wife-to-be. I'm one of the little guys, the upstarts, and someday, maybe I'll be a huge success. It will take powerful content, relentless self-promotion, sincere networking, and constant education. Those are all things that the internet as it exists today offers. It also offers my voice and my vision to be broadcast under the same rules as any of the major players. May the best idea win. I'm not naive enough to think the world is a meritocracy, but up until recently, the internet provided the closest thing to it. I don't have the money to sway your opinion. I'm no Lyle McAdam or Brian Roberts, but for now at least, I have as equal access to this website as any other in the world, and I'm going to use that access to tell you to leave this powerful tool for innovation we call the internet the hell alone. As a librarian, I firmly believe in the necessity of being able to provide good internet service to all users. Society is becoming increasingly integrated with and dependent upon online services. For example, many employers only accept online applications, and while this is convenient in many ways, it is difficult to apply for jobs without online access. I've seen many poor people trying to apply for jobs and they're dependent upon the library for internet access. The public library in town has terrible internet speeds and an ever-shrinking budget, and this has a negative impact on the ability of people to apply for jobs. That is only one example of an already existing digital divide. Do not make it worse by allowing ISPs to charge a higher rate for faster speeds. Without net neutrality, my business will go under and my dog will starve to death. So if you do away with net neutrality, you are literally murdering a core guy. What is the core guy? What is that? A type of dog? Is that what you want on your hands? Core guy murder? Because that is what you're getting. A dead core guy or corgi, however. Because you just couldn't leave things as they were, and the rich people were already getting rich as it is. Stop killing corgis, FCC. Yeah, this is the last time I'm going to try and protest about this issue. Because, yeah, apparently we have until July 15th to get our messages through. So this is my last one. Thanks.